What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Served on the Rocks, powered by Living in Colorado, The Mile High Perspective on YouTube, Fathom Realty, and Keller Williams Downtown. We are here at the Rouge Wine and Bourbon Bistro, as always, down here in Greenwood Village off of I-25. And guys, today we have a very information-heavy episode for you, and we're so excited to get into it. But as always, my name is Charlie Esterdelli, and I'm here with
Jameson Amaros,
Oscar Ibarra.
And guys, today we have a very special guest. As you guys, to my right, Steve at Hamian, who is the owner of Red Rocks Roofing. And we wanted to bring him on because living in Colorado, we know that the biggest insurance claim and natural disaster that we have here is hail. And everybody's got to have a roof over their head. So we thought it would be very, very good to bring Steve on and kind of let him talk through his backstory, the formation of the company, how he is in the community helping, and hopefully get a couple of questions answered that we as realtors run into all the time when it comes to roof replacements and how that just mess works, and how these guys, I have personally used them on one of my listings. They've been absolutely fantastic. They make the process extremely smooth, extremely quick, which is why we brought him on. So Steve, thanks for being here. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Before we get into the bourbon that we're drinking, you want to give us just kind of a quick overview of who you are and how you got here?
Yeah. So again, Steve, owner of Red Rock Roofing, and I am a husband of 7 years to my beautiful wife Ashley. I have two daughters, Harper and Autumn, and being a dad is probably one of my favorite things, and man of faith, and I've been doing this for 8 years now.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny how it happened. I went to college for exercise and science, worked in the gym for like 7-8 years, and it's kind of funny. My first experience in roofing, you don't make a lot of money as a personal trainer. I worked at 24 Hour Fitness, worked at a lot of them, and a guy pulled up that I had been working with, training, and he pulls up in a brand new Porsche, and I go, dude, what is this, man? He goes, I own a roofing company now. I'm like, and you just bought a, like, I want to know about roofing. He's like, well, come sell for me. I'll pay you this much money. I was like, all right, I can do that. I'm fit and I'm young and I'm hungry. And so I go out like 2 days and I'm knocking doors and I crush it for him. And I'm like, I just got 4 deals in 2 days. Can I get that money you promised me? He goes, well, the job's got to get done. And, it's like all the horror stories you've ever heard. And So I forced him into writing me some checks that he said, don't cash these until I tell you to. And a month goes by, and I'm like, so I go to his bank and I cash them. I'm like, roofing sucks.
Who's like, what an experience.
This is like forever ago. I was like in my young 20s, and I'm 42 now. And so I was like, I ain't doing that. And you hear this over and over, and you'd hear that. You even still hear this today, like I don't get paid or I have to do this or whatever the case is. And so, well, I ended up getting into tax law. I worked at a tax law firm, and I was a senior consultant, and I was consulting for attorneys, and that's kind of a cool story too. But long story short, I'm like, I meet my today wife, and and we're thinking we go and talk to a banker about buying a house, and I'm like, how the hell do you save up $30,000 to buy a house? I mean, I'm doing pretty good. I work at a law firm. I'm doing better than my friends, and but I want to start a family. I'm like, I met this beautiful girl, and I want to get married to her and things like that. And so I'm sitting on my bed one day and I'm just praying. I'm like, God, what? I just need something. I want to get out of this. I need to do something. And my phone rings, and it's my buddy Jeremy, and he goes, hey man, I own a roofing company, and I've been thinking about a business partner. You want to partner with me? And I'm like, dude, I don't know anything about roofing, but I was just in the middle of a prayer, so this has to be an answer. Right. I'm in. So the next day I'm like, hey, I quit my job. And I get into roofing, and and we have a weird setup. So our setup is like, I just kind of ran with it. And Jeremy has quite a bit of kids and things like that, and not a lot of time for me. And it's funny, Jeremy always lived very frugally. He has a bunch of kids, living in kind of like a rundown apartment, things like that, and a truck. We didn't have a website or anything like that. And but I get my first deal, like 3 weeks goes by, and I'm like, man, dude, I need some money. I'm running out here. And I get my first deal. It's my mother-in-law, my now mother-in-law. Ashley's my wife's name, her mom, Bonnie. And I do the roof, and I do it quick because I'm like, I need the money. So we get the insurance out, boom, boom, bang. And I look at the check, and I look at how much I made on the job. I'm like, I can do this. And I have no overhead. It's just me. And Jeremy's just like, he teaches me a few things. And so I'm like, all right, I need to figure out how to get more of these.
Oh, yeah.
So I call a couple guys from the law firm, and I'm like, hey, you guys want to knock some doors for me on the weekend and set me some appointments? And so, like, Saturday, Sunday, they go out and set me 7 appointments, and I run them all that week, and I close them all. No website. We have a BBB, and I get 7 deals. And now I'm like, I've got cash in my pocket, and the vision is starting.
Now you're growing.
Now
It's crazy.
I'm...
It's crazy how that happens, too, right? Is you kind of start out with the idea, and
Yeah.
then when you prove it to yourself that it's possible,
Yeah.
then it becomes reality, and you go, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Right. And it's incredible to me that, you know, how many companies, at least as a realtor, how many companies that you work with that are pulled up by the bootstraps.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I had this idea and I was doing this, I didn't like it, but then I got into it here.
Yep.
And you started going through it. And I think that's like, even with us with the podcast, right? This was all of us just sitting around drinking bourbon, talking about real estate, and we went, let's start a podcast. Why don't we do this on camera? There's so much good
Then we looked at
information.
each other and went, do you know how to do a podcast? No. Do you know how to do a podcast?
No.
But we'll figure it out.
This guy's like, we should do a podcast. And I remember JC and I, we were like, oh, where the hell did this come from? Because we were talking. And we looked at him. I looked at I was like, okay, whatever. And then I saw JC's like, okay, let's start a podcast. And we all kind of looked at each other blind like
Just had a
blind
bunch
look.
of,
We
just
did
had
it.
3 idea
Yeah,
guys. Like,
and then if
Well-
anything, this guy was like our saving grace. Like, teach us how to do a podcast. You know,
and then Charlie goes, I also don't know how to do a podcast, but I have a background in audio engineering,
Video production.
So I'm
Let's
sure
do
we could
it.
figure this out.
And
so
now we're
literally,
here.
we literally
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
what we were doing.
And now we're here, and we're sponsored. We got a sponsor here at the Rouge. We're drinking awesome bourbon, and as always, guys, you know we don't
Seems
just
like
do
a dream, doesn't it?
right? Yeah.
A Midsummer Nights.
Oh,
Interesting.
a little bit of foreshadowing.
Interesting.
No, but guys, as you know, this is not only a real estate-based podcast. We do drink, sip on bourbons, and today's bourbon is one that I would say, are blessed to be handed to.
One of my favorites.
From Chris. So the bourbon that we're drinking today is called a Midsummer's Night Dram, and it is by High West Distilling. But if you are a bourbon whiskey drinker, you'll know that these guys are big. They've made a splash since they came out on the scene in 2006. High West Distilling has, I think it's 5 different bottles across. Now, the Midsummer's Night Dram that we're drinking right now is Act 12, Scene 6. And this one is 49.3%. So we are looking at about pretty much 100 proof.
98.
Yeah, 98, 99, 100. And this one is a blend of straight rye whiskeys finished in port barrels. And this is a limited
Port barrels
engagement.
in French oak. As
In
well.
French oak.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely. So if you guys are normal bourbon rye whiskey drinkers, you'll know this name, and we are extremely lucky to be drinking this
It
one
is
today.
not easy to get a hold of.
No, it's
That
not.
is the thing
And
about
you're
this.
only allowed
And
to
High
get
West
2 bottles.
isn't like an old distillery.
No.
You know, it's
No, they're newer.
It's newer, 2006, I believe, and biochemists just got to doing it, kind of like Dexter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And man, did he make a great product.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is one
Yeah.
by far
Well, and this
one
is
of my
fun too
favorites.
because Steve, you've never had this, right?
I've never had this, no.
He's getting some good ones today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I'm being treated. I'm
This
like,
is the-
so
this is the
you
day
guys
to be
need
on
to, yeah, I'm just going to come here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
guys
so
Be a
do this all the time?
podcaster.
Yeah.
it's not only a really good bottle, it's a hard bottle to find.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it's-
so
it's
when you
really
buy
good.
these guys, you're only allowed to get 2 at a time. So that is how sought after they are. They have to limit them because it takes a while for the aging process, and they put a good amount of work into it. But
So
just-
we are rating this as well today, correct?
Oh yeah, we're rating it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I already got a rating for it. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that we're
So I mean, I will say for 100 proof, based on the other hundreds that we have, the ethanol does come through on the nose.
we've never
Yeah, it
had
does.
this one, huh?
No, we've
Not
never
on the
done.
podcast.
No.
Wow.
Mm-mm. And it's the nose
Thank you,
does
Chris.
have a strong ethanol to it.
Yep.
dude, but look at the color,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The color
I mean,
is
it is
beautiful. That
deep.
dark.
dude.
That dark rye.
Yeah, the ethanol's there, but the vanilla comes through.
Yep. Little bit of. I'm getting a lot of that oak.
Yep.
Yeah.
lot of
you
that
need-
wood
The
on
more I
the-
stir it, yeah.
Not a lot of spice. I expected there to be a little bit more spice on it for the rye, but I'm not getting a lot of that grain with the rye and the spice.
Yeah, the vanilla and oak, for sure.
Comes through pretty
This
heavily.
is a really smooth vanilla.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
port
Yeah.
port barrel comes in. There's a little bit of like deep like apricot ish.
But it's like
Let's see that.
it's a background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very background. It takes a background to the vanilla, to the smoothness.
Absolutely.
The
I
glass
could be-
just feels heavy too. I don't know what it
It
is.
does feel heavy.
I'm not-
This is a heavy
maybe it's
rye.
because they were lighter pours on
Yeah.
the previous episode, but
But no, Oscar said it too, and this is why I think that High West has kind of taken off, is because they do root themselves in the science of it, and they're trying to create these blends and these bourbons and rye that complement not only the grain but the spirit itself and the flavor notes itself. Sorry, Oscar and Jameson are speaking with their eyes to each other right now. I haven't sipped it yet, but let's go ahead get the sip in. Cheers, gentlemen. Let's
cheers.
Cheers.
Salud.
Salud.
Steve, thanks for being here with
Yes,
us.
thank
man.
you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
This is awesome.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, let's
And
see.
just so the viewers know, it is very winter outside.
Yeah,
I mean, this is literally the
And
perfect.
Dram is a little pour
Yeah.
to get you warm.
All right.
Yeah, the vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're just drinking so many bourbons now that the 100 doesn't affect me.
No,
But
100%.
I-
100%.
I feel it. I feel it there. The burn's there, but it definitely dies off.
Yeah.
Surprisingly sweet.
Yes.
Surprisingly sweet.
For
And
a
it's
rye.
almost for a rye.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if that sweetness kind of starts at the tip of your tongue, but then instead of going to the outskirts, it's just a straight line to the back of your tongue and your palate. And then sitting, that vanilla comes through. Really,
The
really
vanilla's
clean.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanilla strong. That fruit, plum, apricot, kind of balances it out,
Man.
So, I was reading.
and it's chewy.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Jameson and I've had this. I was trying to shut up. There's a
I've had
story behind that.
experiences with it,
Had to
too.
do with the Ozarks. I was a different man back then.
I love it.
Nothing been different man since then.
The same goddamn man. So the nose says brandied cherries, figs, pecan cinnamon roll, allspice berry, grapefruit zest, French oak shavings, hayride in the fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it to me it comes off almost like a dessert.
Yeah, but that's the nose,
Whiskey.
right?
You hit me
But-
with cinnamon roll. Cinnamon
Yeah.
roll spoke
Yeah.
to me loudly. Like I could see this, like
Yes.
eating a cinnamon roll on a nice, cozy fireplace
Oh,
day.
yeah.
And it's light on the tongue.
It is,
Yeah.
light on
It is light.
Yeah.
especially for being 100 proof.
Yeah, it doesn't hit you that hard. A little bit of ethanol, like you
The
said.
taste
but-
says poached white peaches, stewed rhubarb, Italian tiramisu, candied ginger, clove,
The candied ginger makes sense too.
Yeah.
weathered cinnamon bark, fresh pulled espresso, raspberry tart, and a cedar plank.
Cedar plant. Okay.
I think the raspberry is what I'm getting on the sweetness.
I'm getting raspberry too.
Yeah.
Like that jammy kind of.
Raspberry and rhubarb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure.
I do get the cedar plank on the tongue after,
Yeah.
It's more in the nose for me.
but yeah,
Yeah, the
maybe
top of the
that's-
palate and the nose for me too.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm feeling because I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Allspice.
But-
allspice berry.
It just
Now-
it just flows.
Answer this for me. I didn't
Delicious.
grow up eating rhubarb. Obviously, I'm Hispanic. We don't really use it. I was trying to explain to another Hispanic gentleman that was not originally from the United States what a rhubarb was, and there is no such thing as rhubarb in the Hispanic world. So
Yeah.
Do you use it for anything outside of rhubarb, like strawberry pie?
rhubarb.
No, not really. I don't
Not
think
that
so.
I've seen.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, I've never had to call the wife and be like, "Hey, babe,
Do you want me to pick up
where's
some
the
rhubarb?
rhubarb?"
Yeah, I'd love to hear how you explain that too.
Right.
Like,
I
so
said
what is
celery.
rhubarb?
It's
Like discolored celery.
He
Yeah.
goes, "What? So you use it like salad?" He's like, "No." and then they
So
looked
it's
at me
celery,
like,
so it's
"I-"
green. Well, not really. Okay, but it's a vegetable. I mean,
No.
Yeah.
But
And
do
what do
you
you
use
use it
it
with?
for-
I don't know. It's paired with strawberry.
Does it go in a salad?
And I
No.
will, the one thing that sticks out for me too is for a rye, it's not dry.
No,
It's
not.
not.
No, it's very wet.
It's
Yeah, it's
exactly.
wet.
Yeah,
It's very wet.
on the palate. It's
But
smooth
if
on
you
the
wait,
palate.
as we're talking, that's where the pecans come.
Oh,
At least
yeah.
for me.
Oh, and this
Yeah,
is, yes.
I
The
get that.
pecans
Like
do
it's
come
almost
in.
like that cinnamon sugar pecan.
And this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this is a bourbon. I just know this from experience. Like when it opens up, it opens up.
Okay.
And
Like
you
it
open
is-
up.
Oh yeah.
You're just
or
like,
you end up in
Unfortunately.
Camdenton.
you're just gunning it down the Ozarks.
Unfortunately, Oscar's got his
Don
glasses on, but
Johnson, or who was the Miami Vice guy?
I wish
Yeah,
he could've-
Don
I wish-
Johnson?
I wish he
Yeah.
would have had his glasses off for that one, so I could have changed to his perspective when he said that because Oscar's had an experience with it.
Yeah. what
You
is
can
it
see
from? I forget. I think it's the Italian job. Where he was like, "I had a bad experience."
That was me.
I don't do dogs.
It wasn't bad. It was just interesting.
You know, sometimes
to
you
my
get a
Ozarks
good bottle
people.
of bourbon and you go through it.
That was a good story.
But on that note, guys, let's go ahead and move into it. And one of the reasons that we wanted to have Steve on the podcast today is kind of pull back the veil on roofing, right? Because a lot of the time, like Jameson said, here in Colorado, the only time that people talk to roofers is when they have an insurance claim after a hailstorm, and you're getting those calls, hey, I need this done, or I have to report this, all that kind of stuff.
Or they're knocking on doors.
Yeah.
And you probably see it a lot. It's the the companies that come in, plant the sign, and then once they've done their thing with the neighborhood,
Yeah.
they're gone. You can never find them again.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and they get,
They
lot
get a
of
bad rap.
roofers get a bad rap.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, roofing does have a bad rap, and I want to finish up. I'm not going to go much into it, but just like you guys, like you didn't know a podcast, but it was really great watching you guys over here. Like, wow, what professionals you guys are at this. Look like you were born to do this, right? And I would
Appreciate
like
it.
to think when people look at me with the roofing and leading, not only in my company but in the industry, people would hopefully look back and say the same thing, and a lot of them do, and I'm grateful for that, and blessed and honored, and I do believe a lot of that is from the way we lead our team and operate. But yeah, roofers have always had a bad rap, but the cool thing about roofing now compared to when it was, when you think of the trade industry, now parents are like, go get into trades, don't go to
Right.
college,
Yeah.
right? Like, and the reason is back then trades, it's almost like baseball. Everybody had a mullet, right? And a
Yep.
mustache, and now it's like it's a bunch of young, hungry professionals in the sales side, and then you got to pair that with great quality workmanship from your labor side, and it's like, I remember one of the questions, like, how do you meet the demand and keep your quality up? And we'll get into that, but yeah, man, we're changing the game, and the way that I'm changing the game is, by leading from the front, creating a culture, just like you would think of any big company that is culture focused, these big tech companies, things like that. You guys all have your real estate teams and understand the importance of culture and what can happen. And so within my company, my focus has never been driven by numbers or KPIs. It's character and building leaders and taking young men and growing them into future leaders. Somebody once told me a good leader brings people under you, above you. And so my talks with my guys and my sales team has always been about, where's your heart at, not
Yeah.
where your number's at. And that just the byproduct has been success, and the sales, whatever. And, and I think that's what people, when you lead like that, it's your customers are going to feel that.
Sure.
And to that point too, Steve, I think Jameson said it so well. Is one thing is like roofers are almost like the specter in the background, right? They're there until you need them, but you don't really know.
Yeah.
And one thing that you guys, like you said, you're not trying only to be a roofing company. You're trying to implement a system and be part of the community. So Jameson mentioned it. Normally, you just see a sign in the yard. So what are you doing in your company to kind of bring it to the forefront to be part of the community?
Oh man, I look for every opportunity. It's sorry, so many ways. Honestly, it's like God has blessed me, and it's like, God, how do I be a steward of that? Right? It's like the old Bible tale of, you've been given talents. Now, do you hoard it or do you multiply it? Right? And so for me, it's multiplying it. And so looking for, it's almost like that movie Yes Man. It's like when you're handed an opportunity to either give or participate, whether it's time, money, whatever the case is, you want to do that. And so, I mean, just the simple things you'll hear from anybody. The churches, just when our church needs something pro bono, we're doing it. They've got several churches, and so the roofs need worked on and things like that. All the local schools in Erie, Little League baseball teams that just won the championships. I get to see my shirt on it and their deal up there. And, I'm lucky to be part of a school where they do called Breakfast with Dads. So once a month, they bring all the kids and the dads early and feed them Chick-fil-A. So I buy all the Chick-fil-A for all the parents and the kids every week and things like that. And one big thing we do is it's called No Roof Left Behind. And so every year, it's supposed to be one, but normally it always seems to be more than one. But when somebody really needs a roof and they're like a candidate that can't afford it, we come in and we just do that pro bono. And one cool story was in Lafayette. This guy was like, I think he had some problems, and he had a hole in his, like a big one. And he was sleeping outside under tarps, and he was just, a hoarder type guy. And he's, the guy you'd see walking around the town. So I come in, we just redo the whole house. We're not charging you a dime. He was saving up his Social Security checks to buy plywood because he knew he had to redo all the plywood. Yeah. I said, man, forget that, dude. We're doing the whole thing. Well, no, we're doing a nice roof. We're not doing the cheap stuff. We're doing all that. And I always do that. I don't cut corners. When I'm doing something for free, do it with your whole heart,
Yeah.
And so,
how does that program work? How do they, if it's somebody that wants to apply for that, to have you guys come out, what does that look like?
Give me a call. Give us a call.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I like what you said. I think when you said how do you not compromise the quality when you're doing a lot of quantity, and I think ethics and integrity.
Yeah.
That's how you keep that up. And another key point is leading from the front. I think a good leader doesn't tell everybody what to do and pushes the whole crew. he goes to the front and he says, "Follow me, let's go." And I think that's always the best companies, when the leader's out there, in the trenches doing stuff with the community. And hey, you know what? You didn't make a paycheck, but you made a big dent in the community by doing a roof for someone a year, once or twice a year. That says a lot. You're vested where you're living and where you're doing your business.
Yeah, and I think, Oscar, to your point, we obviously as realtors, we work with a ton of vendors, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you go to like the Smedra or DMAR marketing meetings, you're getting handed business cards left
Yeah,
and right.
I'm sure.
And I think it's very hard to sift through all of those contacts and know inherently which ones are going to be quality connections and which ones aren't. Some of it's by chance, right? But I know and I'm going to speak from a roofing standpoint, I usually see roofers come out and advertise during and right after storms. That's when I see them, right? Whether or not they pick up and they leave the state and they come in, you got the storm chasers that do that, right? But even still, like if I'm looking at just connections, it's always like a salesy type of deal. I don't often see roofing companies that are committed to the community itself in ways outside of, hey, we're able to replace your roof for this much or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a unique thing that you guys do consistently in the community, so people understand, like, hey, it's a pillar of the community. This isn't just a company that wants to replace the roof and whatnot. It's somebody that's trying to provide value through multiple different avenues, even if it doesn't mean that I'm going to be getting paid to fix your roof.
Yeah, I think, it's, I think a lot of times what you run into in the roofing industry is, you get a lot of turnover. And I don't, luckily. When you pay guys right and you treat them right, they stay around, right? And they start to bleed your colors. And our motto is standing for greatness. And like you said, leading from the front. I think it's just about loving people. Nobody wants to get yelled at. And, so having the low turnover, or like to speak to that, is you always get the new sales guy and he's, just hungry and always trying to pitch and telling you the roof needs replaced. And, especially with realtors, it's like I was telling you off the record here is, a lot of times these guys get on the roof when you call them out and they're like, oh, yeah, it needs replaced. And I'm like, man, you could be getting in between somebody's dream home for their first-time home buyer. This could change the whole outcome of their life if you're not honest about what this roof is, right? Or it could be a simple fix, right? And then you get the couple photos, oh, look at all the damage, and you get up there and, like, they took a picture over there and one over there, and then they said it was everywhere.
Right.
And so we get up there and, we do a digital video. We film the whole thing so you can see what we're seeing. And we're just real honest about it, right? What is it going to take to fix it? Is it simple? Is it a little more in depth? No, we can't. You should replace it. And we want to be very factual about it because we don't want to get in between somebody buying their dream home or the sale of a home that they desperately need, whatever the case is, right?
Well,
So
and I
not
think
only
that's-
that, but if someone comes up to my house and instead of saying I need a whole roof, says, hey, we just fix this, it's a good roof.
Yeah.
And I say, man, these guys are honest.
Yep.
I'm going to call you when I do need my whole roof replaced because I trust you.
Amen to that. And, you realtors, let me tell you something. 8 years ago, I realized I put some different systems, and I do operate, and we're not going to get into all my different operations, but I do run my company a lot different, which helps with that turnover and keeps people running in straight lines. But we found out a long time ago through BNI networks and things like that you guys are truly the bread and butter of the success of my company, and I could not be more grateful for all of you realtors who support us. We have a massive realtor base. Because when you guys need something, you need it done now. And whether it's the small repair, the honest opinion and walk away, or, the full roof, it's getting done, and we're going to act fast. We're going to do it for you. And so that we can continue that relationship, because especially when the market was hot for you guys and it's turning, or even right now, people are a little more particular about their roof being done. They're spending a lot more because of the interest rate. So if the roof is even borderline, they're asking for it, and people are having to do it. And we're going to tell them the truth, but then we leave it up to you guys to do the negotiating, right? Maybe they do want it, maybe they don't, whatever the case is. So, first of all, thank you to the realtors all over out there who have been such a big support of my industry, and we're going to continue to put you guys at the forefront of our list when you call. So,
well, and thank you so much for that, because we talk about it all the time. Like realtors, at the end of the day, you're not only working with us in order to make sure that your contract goes well, you get the most bang for your buck, but you work with us for our network. Yeah. And one thing that we value, especially here on the podcast, is we only recommend people that we back personally, that we believe in the quality of the work, but also the person, right? Yeah. And the company themselves. And one thing that, we run into as realtors is a lot of the time when people call a roofer, it's in times of crisis. right? As far as
99%
99% of the time, like you just said,
Yeah.
hey, in order to close on this, I need this.
Right.
I need you to come do this. Can you get me a quote? Or,
Yeah.
Oh my God, my roof
Yeah,
just got destroyed.
nobody
Like,
ever goes, you know what, I haven't been on my roof in like 3 years.
Yeah. Let's
call a
And
roofer.
I had a free weekend, so hey, Steve, do you mind coming out and just taking a look and telling me
Yeah.
if I need to spend $9,000 on my deductible?
Or you
That
walk
doesn't
into the
happen.
bathroom and you're like,
No, it is
that
not
a
an issue
drip?
till it's an
Yeah.
issue.
in my
No.
living room, is that water?
Yeah.
You should probably call a roofer.
Yeah, exactly.
right? And
That's
I
funny.
think one thing that's so important that I really want to talk about with you is, because of that, a lot of the time we're in a crisis. And we had Chris Walters, who's a home inspector and goes and does roofing. And one of the things that he mentioned was, hey, roofs are a big part, so you need to get that inspection done for your roof. So one thing that I do want to talk about is, what does that look like for the homeowner? As far as, we get an inspector out there, the inspector looks at it, and we know, hey, I need to get something done on my roof. A lot of people can't come out of pocket for that whole cost, right? What is, in your experience, what does it look like working? How does the process work? Talking to like a warranty company, how does that look if I'm a homeowner and I need to get my roof done? How do we work with you, and what does that process look like as far as you come out, getting the quote, and then applying that or sending that to the insurance, getting warranties, and what are some different products as far as that you look for, that you back when it comes to warranties?
All good questions. And I just want to cap off on the last one. I was watching you guys doing the bourbon tasting, and you're saying like you have all these roofers. It's almost like you hear it, but then when you experience us, it's like, oh, that video really sits on my palate. Oh, that timeliness really stays in the back of your throat. And so it's like you get to experience, once you experience us, it's like having these sips. And so like you said, you get a million cards. But working with us is like this, when a realtor calls us, all right, you're a priority. We understand the process. We know the timelines. And so we're going to go out same day, maybe not a day like today. We're going to go out same day or
You're not
within
going to
20.
be on the roof with 5 inches of snow and ice and.
So it's
20
funny.
degrees?
I did the Stanley House in Estes Park.
Wow.
So not the Stanley Hotel, but Mr. Stanley's house.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
now a museum that they shuttle you to from
Yeah.
you can't actually park there. But we did that roof like 3 years ago, and because it was such a cool project, I actually went there. I never get to go to jobs anymore. But I go there, and we don't finish the same day, and then it dumps snow.
Oh.
And we need to finish the ridge caps. And I'm like, this is such an important project.
Right.
I'm going to go do this myself.
Yeah.
So I've got pictures of me with snow like this, and I'm sliding across the ridge, hammering in ridge caps down the Stanley House. And so
Risking life and limb.
Committed.
I did have somebody
Committed.
standing, but luckily I could straddle the ridge. But I had somebody kind of down there. I'm like, if this goes bad, like just be there.
Come on, catch me.
It's like
Catch me.
it's like those old Saturday morning cartoons where they're running around
Yep.
with this like.
That's
trampoline
awesome.
Now, if I had a glass of bourbon, that'd be
Ah, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Bourbon makes everything easier.
Yeah, yeah.
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 So
Shingles might not
I saw him
Great.
early. I only like to drink when I'm by myself or unless I'm with somebody.
Yeah,
so.
see?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you know,
Exactly.
days
You
out
gotta have,
of
you
the
gotta
bar.
have the spice of your life. Have variety.
Right. So yeah, can you kind of
Okay, so you
break
call
down,
us
like-
out. Yeah, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to shoot a digital video, right? So we're going to do that digital video, and this is great for transparency between both seller and buyer. And that video is sent through a link. It's uploaded on YouTube. I have an inspection video for every house we've ever looked at in our database.
Smart.
Gate training tools, always have access to it. And just so you know, it's not public. This is a private, it's not just put out there for everybody to see. This is a private channel, only accessed by Red Rock unless you're sent the link. So for all the homeowners. And so we'll shoot the video, send it out. And you say, hey, we need the insurance out. And then it can go a lot of directions. Okay, call the insurance out. Now we're at the mercy of their timeline. We'll meet the insurance adjuster out there. We'll go over everything. And we're going to look, even though we don't do all scopes of work like siding, windows, things like that, we're going to go over every single thing so that anything that can be involved in that claim is involved in that claim, and we'll go through
And,
that.
and I think I'm going to pause you just for a second. That's huge.
I was
that-
about to say,
that
yeah.
you go out and you meet the insurance adjuster because they're humans and they're working for the insurance company. You're going to point out vital things, other things that maybe they miss, and that's being thorough.
Man, I
Looking after
cannot
the client.
imagine being a homeowner going through an insurance process, knowing what I know on your own, not meeting the adjuster. I can't tell you how many. Oh, Mr. Homeowner, you don't have anything. Well, the homeowner hasn't been up there, so they just take their word because they're the.
Yep.
I trust my insurance, all right? Yeah, I trust my insurance. He said there's nothing. let's call him back out here. Let me meet him out here. Oh, all of a sudden there's a bunch of damage, right? Or whatever the case is, right? And get it done. So, yeah, we'll meet the insurance adjuster out there. We'll go through the scope of loss report. We'll, run it through the homeowner, get you on the schedule, help you pick out colors, dial in materials. We always offer a free Class 4 impact-resistant shingle.
Which-
Helps with insurance rates.
I was going to say, I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
highlight that because that is very
I have
important.
it here, right here.
And the reason it's important is, and we just talked about this on the podcast probably 2 or 3 episodes ago. So nationwide, homeowners insurance premiums have gone up 40% over the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, and we've talked about this before, Colorado is number 2 in the country for natural disaster claims,
Next to Texas.
strictly because of hail.
Yeah.
So the fact that you guys will come out and do a free upgrade to Class 4 impact-resistant shingles versus Class 3, and I don't have the exact numbers.
Actually, most things not even a Class 3. Owens Corning, luckily, actually just made their standard shingle a Class 3 as of this year. But most standard shingles you see out there, unless it's a Class 4, it's
just-
not Class
it's
5.
just- okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Even still, I have seen personally insurance quotes change premiums
30%. 30%.
30%
State
just
Farm
by doing
is
a
way up
free
there.
Class 4 shingle upgrade. It's huge because that is on everybody's mind, and it is something that we haven't really had to talk about because insurance has been in Colorado has been pretty stagnant over the last 5 years until 2 years ago. But now all of a sudden we're seeing it where those insurance premiums are going up $200 a month, and that kills people's debt to income, which now means you could be under contract on a house. You could be going through underwriting, and then all of a sudden you go shop your insurance. You're at an extra $200 to $300 a month. You no longer qualify for that
Which
house.
for most home buyers with the interest rates it certainly makes or
kicks back.
breaks. And Class 4, does this have a Class 4? Will it have a Class 4? Yes, it will have a Class 4. Oh, you just saved that, that breaking.
Now you said the
Now-
break-even point. You may have saved the loan.
Yeah.
Like now you went from not being approved to okay. Well, this discount's going to be big enough that you can now continue to go through. So that's absolutely
30% is a
huge.
lot.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
it's
That's,
huge.
And for the folks and for the realtors, what does that mean? Class 4 impact resistant.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
gonna shoot my shotgun at it.
No, that's okay. It's
Can I shoot my shotgun at
it's
it?
a classification which is called the UL2218 rating on it, and it's basically tested by shooting a steel ball, 2-inch steel ball, 90 miles per hour at the shingle, and it maintains its integrity. There's a couple different types.
That
So
was
we're
just
in
being funny,
Owens.
huh?
So we're an Owens Corning Platinum preferred contractor, considered to be one of the top 1% in the nation. Last year at the Owens Corning Platinum Conference, we actually won MVP.
Nice.
Which is, for being I didn't get through my story. Red Rocks is only born 4 years ago. I left my business partner.
Congratulations.
My business partner. Everybody came with me. We're still great friends today. I was just moving at a much faster pace. And Red Rocks was in middle of 2020, right during COVID. All we had to do was rebrand, and we just started flying.
So how do you guys get that accolade from Owens Corning?
Lots of different things: ethics, integrity, volume.
Okay.
And there's other strictly volume based, but this one being MVP.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Nuggets fan. Thinking Nikola Jokic. How are you representing yourself in an industry?
Got it.
How are your suppliers viewing you? How is your brand viewing you?
Well, and Owens Corning,
They're the biggest.
hey, you guys are watching this on your iPhone. Guess where that glass is made,
Yeah, Gorilla Glass.
right?
Yeah, Gorilla.
Owned by
So
Owens
Owens Corning, they helped Corvette make one of the first lightweight automobile outer bodies. They did
Yes.
Gorilla Glass. They helped build a space suit to go to NASA.
Yeah, these
They
guys
did
are,
like a lot of
these
things.
guys
They're
are
a deal.
They actually
heavy
invented
hitters.
commercial fiberglass.
Yeah.
So, and the first fiberglass shingle.
So what you're saying is they have high standards.
They have
And
very
they're
high
made
standards.
here in Colorado, and I'll tell you, you think like a factory is boring, but it really actually is cool to see these massive rolls of fiberglass
Mm-hmm.
roll through a machine, packaged on a pallet, and sent out without being touched. But to answer your question, there's 2 types from Owens Corning Class 4. One is the Duration Storm. It's a polymeric reinforced backing, which is a tight backing. So when you get these, like I lived in Erie last year, was
Yeah.
like a massive storm in Erie. That hail can bust through your shingle on your deck, which then that's when you start getting the really bad leaks, and now you got all this internal junk going on.
Yeah.
If you got that, chances are it's not going to break the backing as easy, keeping you from the big stuff, right? You'll still get a claim if the hail's big enough. Remember, this is a 2-inch steel ball rating. We're getting like 2 1/4, 2 1/2. It'll crush it still. the biggest thing is
Crazy.
1, stop the leaks, and 2 is stop the get the insurance discount. Right. Second one is the duration flex. Duration flex is just like it says. It's it really does flex, and the reason that's good in Colorado, it's made from a modified SBS asphalt. That's a rubberized asphalt, which helps with like the
Bouncing
bounce,
it,
the
basically?
bounce,
Yeah.
the bounce of it. And because in Colorado, what you'll get a lot, and you see these like, oh, there's a lot of granulocks, a lot of thermal cracking, things like that. And this is what gets people, like, no hail, but now you got to replace the roof because of this. Well,
Right.
because of the rubberized asphalt, you're going to get better granule adhesion. So that's Owens. A lot of people have had the SBS asphalt. They just really took their time to dial it in. So that duration flex is kind of rated at like one of the number 1 shingles out there.
So even just in normal weather conditions.
So with expansion and contraction,
it's going to last longer.
It's going to last longer under better, normal conditions, right? So now the other thing we offer for free is ventilation upgrades. So we throw a free ridge vent on every roof.
Cool.
Get rid of the box vents. And that ventilation is going to help with your heating and cooling, hot upstairs, and the granule adhesion as well, because that baked attic space is really what pops that off. So
Awesome.
That's awesome. That is amazing.
warranties, last thing. I know
Yeah,
you asked
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Okay. So warranty, being a platinum contractor, you can offer the best warranty in the market, which is 25-year workmanship backed by OC and 50 years on, 100% on product. Whereas the standard one is, 100% on product, and then it starts to depreciate over time as far as, warranty. But honestly, I've been doing this 8 years. I've done thousands and thousands of Owens Corning's roof. I've never had to do a warranty.
Well, and the one thing that I want to point out too is just on that fact is what stands out to me with what we were talking about working with the community, being part of it, and then also having these being a platinum contractor with Owens Corning. So what I just heard when you said not only we haven't had to do anything with warranties, but if you're a homeowner and you call Red Rock Roofing, that is another pitch point. That is another sales point in your negotiations. Is
Yes.
that, hey guys, we chose this roofing company because they are platinum and they offer the best opportunities for warranty. So if you're a buyer and you're here in Colorado and you're working with your seller's agent, working with your buyer's agent, that's something that you can utilize and say, hey guys, look, I would feel really comfortable if you went with a company that is certified by Owens and is a platinum, because they're going to give us a better warranty. They're going to make us feel more comfortable buying and paying for this, and or you paying for us, that it'll go to longevity.
Well, so just to piggyback off of that, we talk about it all the time. It matters who you work with.
Oh, yeah.
When you're essentially navigating the largest financial decision for 90% of Americans. Right?
Yeah.
And when you can leverage vendors like yourself, that even from a selling standpoint, right? Like, it could be something where I'm listing a home and I'm doing a pre-inspection, and we get somebody to come out like Chris and go, oh, hey, you know what? This roof does have hail damage. I would recommend a roofer coming out.
Yep.
I can come to somebody like Steve and say, hey, can I get you guys out? Number one, you're going to give me an honest opinion.
Yeah.
Number two, if it does turn out, hey, we do need to install a new roof, with things like that warranty and this is from a selling standpoint, like the warranty, like the Class 4 shingles, you can actually leverage that to increase the sale price of the house, because I can say, hey, this is what we did before we even put this on the market.
Yeah.
Right? And now it makes buyers feel a lot more confident, like, okay, I'm moving into a house, and the number one biggest ticket item that I normally have in a home repair is not only taken care of, it's going to lower my homeowner's insurance, and if anything goes wrong with it, those warranties are transferable, correct?
Oh,
It
yeah.
stays with the roof.
Yep.
Two of the biggest things of a home: the foundation. Well, we always use it in sayings, the foundation of whatever business, whatever. And the other thing, the roof over your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Roof is second by none over foundation.
Yep.
And it is one of the most common thing that comes up when you're purchasing your house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because the consumer doesn't go up there unless they're hanging Christmas lights where all the granulates are falling off because they're walking all over.
Oh, yeah. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Once almost fell off my roof. Now I have a company that comes out every year. And
Yeah.
doesn't
I don't hang my lights. No, I don't even get on my roof,
I don't
man.
put lights up.
I have
on
a
my house.
Victorian house. I'm like,
it's
no.
like roofs are a little expensive.
Exactly.
Now, what is the average? And this is a subjective question. What is
Yeah.
the average lifespan of a roof? Let's say that they had 50 years of good weather.
Yeah, and I want to finish on the. I keep doing this. I jump back, but if you just need a quote, let's say it's not insurance, we do have software. I have several different programs that measure. I can have a measurement of your roof and all the details of it within 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I don't have to come out there and see everything. We can always make minor adjustments, but I can usually pump estimates out, within a couple hours. So if you need an estimate, especially you guys, here it is. A couple hours, you get the drawings, you get everything with it. And then all the upgrade options or whatever you want with it. So
hold on and I want to stick on that point. If there's a potential homeowner that just wants to get it looked at, what is the best way for them to go about doing that? Do they visit your website? Do they give you a call? What is the process for them if they're not working with a realtor to get that done with you?
So you can do a contact. We have a live chat person on our website, or just call 720-735-ROOF. Somebody will answer the phone and schedule it. We'll get
Awesome.
out there.
Perfect. So
Dang,
easy.
you got roofs
Easy.
on your phone number. Dang.
It was. I think I got the last one.
Yeah,
That's
You,
awesome.
you pay
That's
money for that.
legit.
Yeah, you got to pay money for that one.
That's
Same with
awesome.
Red Rock. Red Rock Roofing was actually, I used to be RedRockRoofingColorado.com because they wanted like an obscene amount of money
Yeah.
for Red Rock Roofing. And after, I was like, I'm tired of having Colorado in my email address. So I was like, all right, just bite the bullet. We're Red Rock Roofing. So
That's awesome. That honestly, and it's funny because as we're sitting here, for me as a business owner, we all have our LLCs. We're on Google, right?
Yep.
Google reviews are so important, and you've been in business for 4 years, and I just wanted to take a look at it, and it's such a testament because if you guys look them up, Red Rock Roofing on Google, there are almost 400 reviews, and you are still sitting at a solid 4.9 5-star rating.
the last
Dang.
review was somebody we left a flyer on their door as a neighbor of a job we were doing, and they just whatever. But yeah, man, I can't. And those are all organic. Those
Yeah.
are not
Name
solicited, and we're getting an average of about one a day right now, which is awesome.
Congratulations, that is
Thank you.
amazing. And honestly, I think we've talked a lot about how you're kind of changing the landscape with Red Rock Roofing as far as you're utilizing drones and using that footage to provide the information and not just say, "Hey, trust us with our word. We're the professionals," right? You're actually going and you're saying, "Hey, this is what we went through. This is what we're doing," and I think that gives another layer to your clients, to us as real estate agents, and trusting in that we can actually say to them, "No, guys, look, right here on the video, this is the point that they're talking about." Versus so many other times, it's an inspector goes out and says, "Hey, you need to do the roof." Okay, well, let's hire a roofer. The roofer says you need to redo the whole roof. Why? They're the roofer. They say it. We can actually reference, and your clients can actually reference these moments, and I think that's huge. That coupled with the high amount of reviews and your focus on being a community-driven business and being part of the solution and not adding to the problem of, hey, your roof's going to cost a lot of money. You're actually saying, no, it may cost you, but you're going to get value. You're going to get long-term service. You're going to get a warranty that tops anybody else in the industry. I think that, for me, I would feel comfortable recommending Red Rock Roofing to any client
I appreciate
because of that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on the videos, it's you're breaking down barriers of walls of confidence with the homeowner, and so I've always told these guys this video is to do three things: identify the problem, identify yourself as the expert, and identify a solution. And we can do those three things through it.
It's transparency, right?
Transparency. Thank you. Yep.
That's it.
Oscar, what was your question a minute ago? I think we just blew by it.
The
The life
question-
of the span of an average roof.
Average roof
Oh,
lifespan.
okay, yeah. It's, back in the day, everybody used to call it 30-year roof, right? And that's gone away. Like this is supposed to be a 30-year roof, but weather, installation, expansion, contraction, all these things play a factor in it. So it's really hard to tell. Ventilation was such an undersought thing, but now that it's becoming more recognized, especially if you're doing it correctly, you want to have a balanced ventilation system. If you do that, it's going to last a lot longer. What's your sun exposure like? What's your location like? How are you covered by trees? Is there lichen falling? So I'll be honest, that is such a subjective question. And in Colorado,
It's
Who
hit or
knows?
miss.
Well, and-
I'm
and-
surprised when people have to. I'll tell you a funny story. Once I felt so bad, a realtor, he calls me up and he's out in Fountain. That was like 4 years ago. And we had to inspect his roof and it was trash, no hail. So
Yeah.
he's like, I'm selling it. I got to do it. And I'm like, all right, 10 grand or whatever it was,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I'll pay out of pocket. Well, we do the roof. He gets it under contract. 2 days later, it gets pounded by hail. He's like, what do I do? I'm like, you just got to call your insurance, man. I feel real bad. I know you just spent 10 grand. He goes, oh, that's like my deductible again. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. And it's a little, I'm like, we don't need deductibles either. A lot of guys are out there doing that. It's illegal. Don't do it. You just got to pay your deductible. We can find creative ways, or you can use your loss report, and there's other educated conversations to have, but you can't waive deductibles.
Do you work with financial institution for financing?
We do offer financing,
There you
yep,
go.
in-house. So
Awesome.
Well, we are signed up in-house. It is through Service Financing,
Right.
large partners with Owens Corning.
Yep.
But so we do this guy's roof again, and then when we're packing up that day, like we're done, and we're packing our tools up, boom, it gets nailed for the third time. And that's the one that hit the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo and like killed those animals and stuff. And I felt so bad for this guy. He's like, man, I'm like, call your insurance. So we did this roof like 3 times in
You're
like
all right,
a
at
month.
this point, you need a rabbi, a priest, a sage. You just have bad
And I would
luck,
say buy a
man.
lottery ticket because I
Yeah.
mean at that point like something good has to happen.
Something
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
something's
yeah.
got to happen.
So,
Well, and honestly,
That's when you grab your good bottle of bourbon. You're like, bro, we just
You
need
mean
to
like
sit
a
so I don't got a
Mixer,
good
right?
answer for you. I'll just be honest with you.
no,
No, I think
And that's why I said
that's good.
subjective
Yeah.
because
It's
people
so
are always
subjective.
like 30 roof, and I'm like, we're gonna get hit.
That
by
language is
hail.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
get
In
rid of that
about
language.
6-7 years, there's a for sure chance
Yes.
that we're gonna get hammered.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
and I honestly, it's thank you for taking the time to come on and sit with us and go
Yeah.
through the explanation, kind of talk and give a little bit deeper of a dive into kind of roofing in general. And I think that pulling the veil back and understanding that, you know, roofers are not there to take your money. Roofers are there to protect your investment and help you go long term.
Yeah, yeah.
And having I didn't know that there were classifications. I didn't know that you know you have platinum and then you have, and even a platinum could offer different warranties.
Yeah, yeah.
And that right there gives me so much more of an ability to guide my clients in the right direction, even if you're out of state, right? And I know we've been focused on Colorado because roofing is huge here, but you can use all of this information wherever you are, right? And everything that we went through on the episode, talking about the warranties, the insurances, like you just said, deductibles that are illegal, you know, like use this episode as a guidance, right? And kind of break it down for yourself and reach out because as he said, phone number, chat bot on the website, you can ask your questions directly to the people who are doing your roofs.
I have one more quick thing that ties into real estate, and that's a roof certification, because we get that a lot
You
in
beat
Oh,
me
yeah.
to it.
in inspections, right? The roof is good. Well, year, you know, people start questioning the year. What are the elements of a roof certification, and how long is that term?
Good question. So yeah, roof certifications are big for all you guys. For any new realtors listening out there, first one's free.
Oh,
So
dang.
we want you to sip the bourbon before you buy it, right?
Hey.
So
That's huge.
So we do that here,
it's
baby.
huge. The first taste
Love
for
the
free.
segue. This guy's Steve's a pro.
Uh,
You gotta have him on every week.
yeah, bring me on. All right, so certification really kind of what ours states. And ours is really cheap in the industry because we want to hold value to what we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
We want to make sure it qualifies, and if it needs some basic repairs to get it there, fine, we'll do that at a good cost. But 5-year certification is your most common one. 5-year certification, and basically what it states is that the roof is watertight based on any visible element. So it's good to know if, hey, I'm seeing watermarks in the ceiling. Well, you can't tell if something's leaking by walking around the roof. It's a flashing,
Right.
you don't see points of entry in water when you're looking at it. But based on condition and visible elements off the roof, minus like skylights, there are elements of the roof that might protrude off the roof that we decline, just because these are probably more, it's like getting your warranty for your car. It's for the drivetrain, but not for everything, right?
Right.
So when you get that, so that's basically what this is. This is for the drivetrain for the next 5 years, that it's going to be good and that it is watertight.
Okay.
So that's what a certification is, and ours is $250.
So
Awesome price.
that
Great
being said,
price.
when you do give that 5-year roof certification, let's say within that 5 years something does happen.
Call
How-
us.
Yeah, and what is no
We'll
cost?
come out and fix it,
As
yep.
long as it's covered by that certification, you guys
We'll
will come
fix
out and
it.
fix it. Because that's an important thing, right?
I think I've had to do that twice. I've probably given hundreds, thousands of certifications.
So
I think
peace
I've
of mind.
2 calls where I've had to go fix it.
Peace of
so.
mind. A professional goes out there and says, "Hey, you're not getting leaky roof in 5 years. That's worth more than $250."
Well, and I think this is important to tie back to something I said in the very beginning. When you do have these roofing companies that are essentially storm chasers, right? And they give a roof certification, let's say, because they want to make a quick buck for $250, and then something does happen, and you call them, and they are no longer in the state.
Oh yeah.
That's
Well,
a problem.
And I was going to say,
Right?
guys,
And-
as somebody who works in marketing, please understand that, like, what we say ambulance chasers, right? Real estate, it's called ambulance chasers, but
Ambulance.
ambulance. But
By
when
the
it
way, you
comes,
want to see some ambulance chasers? Go to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers wild down there, dude.
but
My family taught me how to ambulance
Right.
chase down there.
and it's almost like the reason I bring that up is because so many times we see these reactionary measures when it comes to marketing,
Sure.
right? And guys, all you have to do as consumers is call the number and ask them these questions. Again, use this episode as a guidance. Do you offer a 5-year certification? What is your standard? Are you a platinum member with Owens? Ask these questions because you're gonna get into it.
We think so alike.
Yeah.
Because I had 2 questions, all of us. He asked the first one, which is the roof certification, right? Because I think that's important. The follow-up question on roof certification, and I want to point this out because it's a growing trend in Colorado. Tile roofs.
Okay.
Are they terracotta or what is it?
Concrete.
They're concrete
Yeah.
tile roofs.
Yeah, concrete tile. So let's talk about that. But I also want to. I think I'm going to. Dang it! I had another bourbon to tie in, but I want. Okay, just like watching you guys, we all drink bourbon, right? And so it's like when you taste it, you understand it. You know what you're looking for. You know what you're doing, right? You're all in real estate. When you look over a contract, you can skim through it. You don't need to read word for word. You
Right.
know what you're looking for. I think it's really important, especially with the 5-year cert. Once again, not getting between buyers and sellers. Hey, whoever's at my house doing this inspection, how long have you been doing this? Are you a first-time bourbon drinker where, oh, it looks good or it doesn't look good, right? Or have you been with this company for a couple of years? I am very adamant, especially with leak calls. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a leak when I used to be more in the field, and I had to train my eyes. I can show up to a roof, and I don't have to. My eyes are trained, right, to know what I'm looking for. I can't tell you how many times I went to a roof, and they're like, well, they fixed this over here, and it didn't fix. I'm like, they weren't even close.
Right.
Right.
Even where the
And
problem
so
was.
having experience in the industry, even though it just seems like a simple roof inspection, guys know how to look for hail because that's what they get paid on. But do they know how to look at the roof? For all these other things, like you guys who are experienced would know how to taste bourbon or look at a real estate contract, right? So I think it's really important, and that's why I love that I have low turnover, and I'm very adamant about my guys who are, let's say, a little newer. You are not allowed to go to a leak call. You are not allowed to do this until you have that trained eye. So,
And that's just attention to detail. That's caring. You know
that's
what I mean?
caring.
And
That's
that
caring.
is.
I'm not just
Yeah.
gonna send somebody out blind like.
Because you're not going to take off. You're here and stay. It's in the name.
Well, it's
Red
not
Rocks
about the
Roofing.
money for me. It's about our brand and our
And
name.
when it comes with me, I like to work with people I like, are
And trust.
knowledgeable,
Yep.
and they're local. I just do, and I'll spend an extra $1 to do so.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the roofing biz, you have the storm chasers that they're gone.
Yep.
Once they've done 1,000 roofs, they're out and they're done. Right? You're still here. You're going to be front and center when something does happen. Your company's not going anywhere, and you're local, and you spend time with the community. That's value for me in itself, outside of the knowledge and the experience, professionalism that your company provides.
And honestly, guys, we're not. I'd say 5 years ago, you're getting a lot of out of towners, but Colorado is now saturated with roofing companies, so people are understanding they can't come in from out of town and take over the guys who are here. But what you're finding is that because it is a lucrative industry, if you just wanted to be chucking a truck and show up, and get 3 jobs a month, you'd be making a good life.
We're saturated.
But you're not providing jobs. You're not doing it the right way. And even the local guys, the turn and burn the sales guy, and he just, he's there for a minute and he's not, and that's the only number you have. So that's number one, is even the local guys, just, you want to get a company that has really got their feet in the ground and is doing it right. That's number one. Number two, what I'm finding a lot that we're running into a lot right now too, is guys are just showing up at the door wanting contingency signed.
Right.
I've seen a lot of that.
Why are
had
why are
clients call me
people
a lot.
signing contingencies at all?
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
And they don't
have
know. So I'm here to
experience.
tell you guys, you don't need to sign a contingency. What you're looking for is sign a contract after that company has earned your trust. And we don't
like
ask
that.
for contingencies. I got rid of them. Jeremy used to do them. I was like, this doesn't even hold weight in Colorado. It's no price. I talked to an attorney the other day because I'm like, these people are stuck with this bad company because they got sold at the
Repeat that
door.
one more time. When do they sign the contract?
They should when you've earned their trust. Once we've showed you the video, once we sat at your table and given you our educational, not sales, piece, just like you didn't know about Class 4, you didn't know about ventilation, just like you didn't know what kind of underlayment you might want. We have a whole PowerPoint educational tool, not to sell you, but to tell you our process, procedures, and product.
I love that.
Number one, and number two, for not only for us to set expectations of ourselves and for you to hold us to it, but so we can also set our expectations of you.
I love it
going
because
through that
it
process.
puts you guys in a position as a company to have to invest in the relationship
Amen.
in order to get any sort of monetary gain or an agreement with the client, because it costs you guys to have somebody to go out there. It costs you guys to record the video. It costs you guys time and money to put together that PowerPoint. And even after those 3 different phases, you still don't have anything signed. So I like that because it gives them skin in the game.
We don't want, you should sign this. We want you to say,
Right.
where do I sign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh,
So,
I love it. I love it.
That
I love
applies.
it, man.
No, but honestly, and
I love
we
it.
preach it all the time, right? Is guys, we live in a time now when it comes to marketing, when it comes to businesses, that you have more access to businesses and the business owners than we've ever had in human history. So please take advantage of that. Reach out, call the number, talk to the chatbot, because a lot of the times, our experience with big companies like Apple, Samsung, whoever it may be. Yeah, exactly. We're not used to having that ability where our voice is heard and you can ask these questions without them being met with some cookie cutter generic answer. You have the opportunity to talk directly to the business owner or the people who are invested in that business. So take advantage of it. And I love what you said is we want you to want to be with us. Where do I sign? Not sign here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that is right there in itself is beautiful. Now, I will say, I think that we're gonna have you back on because we can't cover everything that we need to cover in this episode, but I think there's a beautiful introduction to Red Rock Roofing, who you are as a company, what you do, the value that you provide. And so, do you guys have anything else that you wanted to cover before we move into the One Rock takeaway?
I'm good.
No?
Yeah.
I just want to share our motto is standing for greatness. And our family motto within our business is loving always, in all ways, driven with purpose, within a culture of selflessness. And that's what we stand by.
I love it.
I like it.
I love it, and I think that's how we all operate here, and why we're.
I could tell. Yeah,
you know
you guys-
why we do this podcast.
Are we friends? Did we just become friends?
Did we just?
Yeah, we became best friends. We just became best friends.
I love it.
We
I
just,
love
we could do.
We should go to our room and do karate.
Yeah.
I was
right?
going to say.
Garage.
Just don't touch my drum set.
Oh, I touched your drum set, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh man, I love it.
Don't
Well,
touch my dram set.
on-
Actually, do because
Oh, yeah.
On that note,
Hey.
guys, Steve, so what we do at the end of every episode is we do what's called a One Rock takeaway. And
Yeah.
what we like to do is kind of condense the episode's topic down into a single thought to kind of, as a send-off for the episode. So we'll kind of take it, and we'll leave you for the end just so you can kind of see how it goes. But
Okay.
James and Oscar, either one of you want to take it?
Do we pour some more before that? No?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'll get you
I
some more.
mean-
Yeah.
I gave it a rating before we even started.
no,
no,
one
One
rock
Rock
takeaway,
takeaway.
bro.
Oh, the One Rock take. Oh, sorry. It's been a long day. I was taking notes.
One shot takeaway.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah.
That's
So for me, One Rock takeaway is always. We're talking about the folks. Part of this is we're a podcast of people. We like to educate. I like the fact that you go and educate your clients and earn their trust before they sign. I'm similar to the way I run my business.
Yeah.
Right now, not everybody's buying or selling, but I'm servicing the people that have a need. I'm filling a need.
Yeah.
I've had to really take people away from these contingencies. I've had at least 7 this year. I like the fact that you want to sit down and educate them before, and that makes them say, hey, you know what? We don't need this guy. We want this guy. We want this guy to come and do it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you are local, earns your trust with me.
Thank
I like
you.
it. JMO?
So mine is something we've repeated a lot of times on the podcast. It matters who you work with, right? And our job, I look at ours as a realtor. I'm a connector. My entire job is to connect people with other people to solve problems.
Yeah.
And I put my name on those connections. So I go through and I try and vet as well as I can the people I work with.
Yeah.
The rock
Same.
takeaway I would tell you as a buyer or a seller is utilize the information we give you guys to know the questions to ask when you guys are looking for, and especially vendor help, right? And when we're talking vendor help, we're talking high dollar amount
Yeah.
vendor help. Like
Yeah.
$35,000, I think, is average roof replacement cost in Colorado right now. And the average deductible, I think, is about $3,500, somewhere around there.
And now
right?
it's a percentage.
Yeah,
That's a-
yeah, that's
it's
a
a
whole.
percentage.
That we could. Yeah,
That-
insurance
that's why
stuff
we're
is a
gonna-
whole
that's why-
nother
now it
talk.
goes by
We
fast,
need to go
right?
back on and
You
talk
come
about
on,
insurance.
You're like, what am I going to talk about?
Well,
You
that's
start
what,
talking.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
have them
Yeah.
back. But my point is, if you're going to spend that amount of money, make sure you guys understand the questions to ask so that you're not left high and dry after this entire ordeal, right? And Steve talked about some of the things that you should go through. Look at the reviews, see where they're at in the community, talk to them about the team, look at their turnover. That's something that I don't think I would have ever asked before.
How long you been with the company? Yeah.
How long have you been with the company, right? If somebody comes knocks on your door and goes, hey, I think your roof needs to be replaced. Awesome. Who do you work for? I work for A, B, and C company. Awesome. How long have you been there? 1 year. Where were you at before? Well, I've been at 4 different roofing companies. Red flag. Wave it. So know the information and understand the questions to ask to get you the best service possible.
And I'm gonna do it first. My one rock takeaway is gonna be a little bit shorter. Proof is in the pudding. When you're working with anybody, whether it's
one
a
of the
roofer,
flavor profiles of this.
Yeah. When you're working with a roofer or any kind of a vendor, you have every right to ask the question. You have every right to vet them. And when you're working with a vendor, if they are not willing to answer your questions, or if they are backing away from questions, that is a signal, or should show you, hey, it's not worth working with. The fact that you are readily accessible, you have so many 5-star reviews, you can do a live chat, they can call you directly, talk to anybody on your team. That speaks volumes for who. And local speaks volumes for your company.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and hand it to you. Now, guys, we are coming up on the Rouge's opening time here, so we may have to get through the bourbon review a little fast. But, Steve, go ahead. What's your one rock takeaway for today's episode?
My one rock takeaway is, first podcast. I just thank you for just having me, and what a group of kind professionals you guys are. And
Appreciate it.
I think going through this, I think it is valuable information for homeowners to hear this, and
Sure.
Hopefully we can get into some insurance stuff and navigating insurance process. I think that's really important.
We
But
can't wait to have you back.
man, you guys are just studs, all studs, without a doubt.
Much appreciated.
Yep.
Much appreciated.
Awesome.
Well, on that note, guys, let's go ahead and move into the bourbon review for today's episode. And just as a kind of a nod, we are drinking Midsummer's Night's Dram. It is the show 12
Act 12, Scene 6.
Act 12, Scene 6. It is a rye heavy. Guys, if you're in the bourbon space, we were very blessed by Chris to have handed us this bottle to be doing this
Chris
review.
is off screen right now, so
Yeah.
thank you, Chris.
Thanks,
I gave him a
Chris.
hug.
Yeah.
Like,
When he gave us the bottle.
This is honestly,
This is also one of Chris's favorites too.
Yeah.
So not
So-
that it's going to skew the rating at all, but
we're lucky to have it. I'm going to take a couple more sips because I've been focused more on the direction, making sure we got everything done. So I'm going to sit back while you guys are doing your ratings. And just so you know, Steve, like I said, we do our rating on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yep.
And it's called a rock rating because
Yep.
the more rocks you put in the bourbon, the worse the bourbon usually is. So the closer to 1, the better the bourbon. And it sounds like you do have experience with bourbon, which for our guests, that is something that we appreciate.
Amen.
So I'm going to go ahead and sit back, just have a couple more sips while you guys break it down.
who wants to start it off?
I'll go. 2.
Go for it.
2. Solitude. I love this stuff. I just do. It's
What,
one of my
Solitude,
favorite.
right?
Yeah, it's my favorite rye.
Yeah.
I'm saving that 1.5 for that
I
unicorn
know, dude.
bottle.
I agreed.
This
Agreed.
is up there, man. This is a solid 2 for me. It's well-rounded. It's my flavor profile. It's bizarre that they're not an old company.
Yeah.
They just did it right.
Yep.
Yeah.
JMO?
I'm going to go 2 as well. It's one of my favorite bourbons. Like, it's just, I've got stories, I've got memories.
I could sit here all day and drink this.
Yeah, very
So you know,
similar to
Chris.
how the Balcones rye was very different.
Yeah.
This is a very different rye.
100%.
And I think they're 2 completely different flavor profiles.
Absolutely.
Which I appreciate, right? That was more toffee heavy, stout-ish. This is on the sweeter palate with the caramel, vanilla notes with the French oak barrels. But, I mean, my God, I could sip this bottle all day.
For me, it's like the holidays.
I could sip it all day.
It's delicious.
It's just, it's heavy, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's sweet, but it still has that rye bite and that dryness at the beginning. The aftertaste with the vanilla notes on the back of the tongue, fantastic. And I do love that every different act is just slightly different with a slightly different flavor profile. And I agree with Oscar. They've been in business not that long, and this is by far one of my favorite bottles.
Freaking masterpiece
2.
right off
Steve,
the
what are you
bat.
thinking?
I listened to you all give the Balcones favorite a 2.7, I believe, is where that one landed. And I believe this one's getting rated high based on experiences that you may have had in the Ozarks or wherever you might have
weren't very
landed
that
up.
good, Steve.
Ozarks or
I mean,
Wherever
Alabama,
you
basement.
I don't know, wherever we picked you up.
I think I ended up somewhere in Jersey. I don't
Yeah.
know.
the witch from Hansel and Gretel or whatever. So,
Yes.
yeah, you guys gracefully let me enjoy that one earlier, and I got to tell you, I got to put them on the same table together. But
Yeah.
as much as I love cinnamon rolls and pecans and Christmas and Cozy 101 in December, this is something you could just sip on all winter here. So I'm going to give it the same as what you guys gave that. I'm not at a 2. I think experiences bumped you up, but I'm going to do the 2 points. I'll go at 2.5.
I love it. No, I love it.
I like
I'm going
it.
to say it. I'm going to say it because I as well have only had this one other time, and
Right.
it was a while ago.
Yep.
And I'm sitting right there with you. I'm gonna do a 2.5, 2.7 with it, strictly because I love the flavor. I love the lightness on the tongue for a rye. It doesn't give you the bite and that tartness on
Yep.
the back of your tongue, on the outside of your tongues that most ryes do. So I think at 100 proof, this is very drinkable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am gonna lean more towards that 2.5 because the complexity of the flavor. Again, I like the sweetness of it. I love the weight on your tongue. It is a good drinkable rye that a lot of ryes for me don't have. It's you can't really sip on it. This you could sip on sitting here with you guys talking about it, learning about your business with the snow going on outside. Like for me. If I gave it an experiential rating,
It's an existential rating.
yeah. If I gave it an experiential bourbon, 2.1, 2.2.
Yeah.
If I go across the board and how we normally rate the things, I'm sitting around that 2.5.
Wait.
Time out. This is not Cozy 101 Christmas music. This is wintertime with a little bit of Toby Keith.
I like
All
it.
right.
I like it.
Come
like
on.
Toby Keith.
Not
All
Cozy
right.
101. It's not.
Chris, what's the cost of a pour on this here?
It was around like 34.
Yeah. So 34 for a pour.
You know what? I've been to places where, and again, I don't want to throw out names, but I mean, hell, we're a bourbon podcast too. They want to serve me some Blanton's for $45
Yep.
a pour.
Yep.
This
All
right
day.
all
All
will
day.
demolish a Blanton's. I'm
Yes.
sorry I said it. I know it's a decent bourbon.
it will.
No,
This thing-
Blanton's is not the bourbon that
It
everybody
doesn't
makes
even
it out to be.
hold
No.
water to this
Sorry.
one at all.
Yeah.
At all.
And
No.
this is, again, I want to highlight this, right? This is very hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you could come here, and again, shout out
Have a
to
pour.
the Rouge Wine and Bourbon Bistro. You can
I'm gonna
come
hug
here
Chris
and get
again.
a pour of Midsummer Night's Dram for 34 on a day like, or an evening like tonight.
Good
Dude,
pour.
I mean, come on.
It's a good pour.
Oscar, I got to ask. You're sitting there, you're drinking Toby Keith. What song? What Toby Keith song's in the background?
You know what? The first Toby
Made in
Keith song
America?
the first song that I ever that got me into country was Should Have Been a Cowboy.
Oh,
That's by far always been
Have
my
you
favorite.
watched the documentary?
I have not. You know,
Cart-
I kind of
the
I
Cowboy
ain't as good as I
Cartel.
once was.
I ain't
no.
as good as I
ain't as good as I once
but
was.
I'm as good once as I ever
I'm 43
was.
years
We're
old
old
now.
men.
I am 43 years old now.
We're all
and
thinning now.
that song resonates with me so well.
I love it. Well,
I ain't as good
Does
as
it
I
though?
once
I mean,
was.
look at us. I
we
mean,
got an average across the board of about 2.4 for Midsummer Night's Dram.
If you can find it, pick it up.
Pick it up, come
100%.
out here to the Rouge, get a pour, learn a little bit about the
Buy
background.
it, call me, we'll drink it together.
Right. But on that note, guys, I want to go ahead, Steve. Please give us everything. Where can people reach you? How can they find you?
So you can call us at 720-735-ROOF. Locations in Castle Rock and Erie, soon to be Firestone. And you can go to our website at redrockroofing.com or, just find us out in your local communities.
I love it. I love it. And
Local, love it.
exactly. And on that note, guys, remember you can always catch each one of us. We all have our own individual platforms. Oscar.
CoolestManOnEarth.com. I'm serious. Go to it. That's
Wait, you still have it?
I still have
All
it.
right.
I just renewed it. That's what I'm doing out there. OscarTheRealtor.com, OscarTheRealtorCO, and the Coolest Man on Earth.
Love it.
The Colorado real estate guy on everything.
That lifting agent or the lifting agent, Instagram and TikTok. If you guys want to talk to me at all about starting your own podcast, doing any kind of video production, marketing, photo, reach out to me, beatthejeansproductions.com or BTG Productions on Instagram. More than happy to talk to you guys about it. But if you have questions for us on how we can help you with real estate, how we can get you in touch with awesome vendors, just like Steve and Red Rock Roofing, you can always reach out to us, RESOTR at themilehighperspective.com, or give us a ring.
720-584-3361. We'll connect you to all of us.
And on that note as well, guys, please check out the RougeWineBar.com. They have events going on constantly. They have tastings. If you guys are listening to this, check out their website because they bring the actual head distillers from these companies in.
We're blessed to meet too.
We were blessed to do a tasting with Old Forester and Balcones through the Rouge. And please check them out. If you guys want to explore bourbon or spirits in general, wine, come to the Rouge, check out what they have. It'll be an amazing experience from the food to the spirits. We can't wait to see you. Invite us out. And,
Yeah, call us up. Say you're going to come have some bourbon. More than likely, I will come meet you.
Yep.
On that, subscribe, follow us, guys. Steve, thank you so much. Cheers.
Hey,
Cheers.
cheers.
Watch
Cheers,
everybody
fellas.
later.
Thank you.
Cheers.